Washington Lee came to Turner Gym Friday night to take on the Lynchburg College. Hornets had a chance to catch up with Mandy King after the game. Hornets get the W. Coach King's squad play hard, but just couldn't get enough points on the board. I talked to Mandy King afterwards and got her thoughts.
Obviously, things didn't go the way you wanted them to tonight. What do you think went wrong?
I don't know that it was a matter of so much going wrong for us as much as it was everything going right for Lynchburg. They're a hard-working team. They execute very well. They defend them. They defend key pieces, and I thought they started the board really well too. And they played really intelligently down the stretch in order that we really made a push. And I thought that they played in a way that prevented us from getting back into it.
As a coach, when you have a game like this, how much do you really want to get back at it the next day, or would you like that day to work on some things?
I really would rather just get back right at it.
Right.
The less I have to think about
right.
it. The better, our team will be. I think, they're a good group, and I think we're at our best when, we're not playing our best. So, how we respond to this is going to be very important.
How tough was it? Becca had a real good night, but Meg had a tough night shooting the ball.
Yeah, we need all of our guys to be playing at a high level. Meg contributes in a lot of ways other than how she shoots the basketball. So I was very proud of her defense. I was really proud of the way that she distributed as well. But for us to win, we need to shoot a pretty high percentage from all our guys.
What did concern you about them coming into this game?
Oh, they've always concerned me. They're a disciplined team. They're tough. They play in an intelligent way. And but probably the biggest thing was that they had 4 days off. So probably for us, I think the biggest difference was that, we were playing back-to-back over the weekend, played on Tuesday, and then have to come out and play again, today. And probably that had my biggest worry, that we wouldn't have our legs under us, and I don't know that we completely did.
And I know Coach Pyzik was on your staff at one time. Talk about how proud you are to see what she's doing here.
Oh, absolutely. I think that we always had a close relationship, and to see somebody that you care about so much just do really special things, I don't know if there's any better feeling, and she's a good person, so, to see her have the impact on her players and the university, it just makes me very proud.
Good luck tomorrow against Randolph.
Thank you very much.
Abby Pyzik, a happy camper after the game, a one-time assistant at WNL under Mandy King. She talked about what her team did well. They stayed poised, they stayed focused, and they stayed ahead most all night long. I talked to Abby Pyzik about the Hornets' effort after the game.
Obviously, you had to feel really good about the shooting in the first half. I didn't realize it was even as good as it was in the first half. Talk about what went right early.
I knew our shooting was going to have to be very, very solid. We actually only had 25 shots total in the first half, and they had 11 offensive boards. So we really talked about, it's key that we're making shots, but we got to get more shots now because we're going to be tired in the second half. And so we talked about that a lot at halftime, that we've got to take control of the ball, make sure we take care of it, and make sure we get the shots we need and get them down there. So we chatted about that a lot, but I thought it was huge. My girls came out really, really strong and shot the ball really, really well.
And one person, to me, it seemed like they had a lot of confidence in their shot tonight was Katie Reeves, hitting several big threes. Talk about what you saw out of her play.
Well, for her to come out and hit 9 points in the first half on 3 threes, or 6 points, with 2 threes, is huge, is really huge. And Roz to hit 3 threes, that's even bigger. We had 6 at halftime,
right.
And so the ability to do that, but Katie Reeves' leadership has just grown and grown and grown, and she's really one of the big X factors in our success because she controls us. We're very much on the same page, and she's just a very natural leader out there, and her defense I thought was impeccable too when she got put on Ingram as a freshman.
Right.
And Ingram is very tough to guard, and WNL is very well disciplined. Coach King does a phenomenal job with her team in that, and they don't turn the ball over and they don't make mistakes, and we knew that. We knew we had to, our Achilles heel has been our turnovers, and so that was really big as we went down the stretch.
It seemed like, too, that your team was more confident early on than I've seen you guys in the past. Is that something that's, just gradually starting to happen where you got more confidence day in, day out?
I think we're pretty angry after the Hollins game. I think we definitely had a mission, and I also think, this game is a pretty special one. It's kind of been a rival for Lynchburg, but I think the girls also know, I have a really great group, and they know how special this is, and they really came in very focused, ready to go. We actually brought some alumni back this week, and so they talked a lot about being Lynchburg and being an alum and being prideful of it and passionate, and so, I really think that helped as we went forward. They were going to refuse to lose tonight, so it was going to be tough.
Katie Crump didn't have some points for a while, but I thought she was, if she'd ended with 0 at that point, I thought still she'd played a great game. I talk about Katie and touch on some other people too.
Katie Crump, we've been talking to her a lot about getting shots on the block, and she's probably a natural guard player, but, having her on the post really helps us. And she had 4 assists by halftime, and she was getting the ball to the right people and not turning it over. And then second half, when we really needed a basket, I've never seen her so calm, turning around and hitting a shot before. And she probably had 4 points in that manner. And so she really did what she needed to do. And one of her other biggest struggles is, being in the right position for rebounding. And WNL does such a great job of offensive boards. They fly in Bolton and Wilson. And so that's a really tough thing to put an example of in practice to get us ready for that, and I thought we adjusted well, and second half we just had really good positioning on our box outs. And the other, the rest of the crew, every single person that went in, I thought Shea Kelly did a phenomenal job coming off the bench. She really drove to the basket, created a lot of tension, was able to get some shots off, and N1, a shot in the paint, especially when Roz might have been struggling a little bit in that second half. And that's something we've talked to her a lot about, bringing a consistent basis. And then, Caitlin Falls coming in, she definitely did her job in the paint tonight, and a lot of times she doesn't see in the stats either, but her confidence has grown and grown as well, and she really did her role, and she's putting the team first, which is just a phenomenal thing.
2 final questions. How big was this win to get it when you're going on the road with the next 3, and 2 of those 3 teams that you play are hanging right there with you in the standings?
This is huge, and our kids know this. We talked a lot about after the game of being very excited about this win, but we have Roanoke next, and so we can't celebrate or be too overly confident. It's early, but we needed this to know we could do it. And to know we had that confidence. And so that was the biggest thing in getting this win and getting that confidence and making a statement, and I think that was really important. I mean, they're a very good program. They beat CNU, and they've had some really great wins. And, we caught them at the right time, and we came out ready to rock and roll and put the coffin in, and we refused to lose tonight.
And final thing, obviously you spent some time as Coach King's assistant up at WNL. Talk about what she means to you as a mentor.
There are no words that can describe what she is to me, and I wouldn't give it justice for any word, but she's just an incredible person first, without a doubt. I mean, her mentorship, I've been at a lot of levels, the D2, D1, and D3, and there's no doubt the relationship she has with her kids and how much she cares about that program and those kids and what she does, and it's just very inspiring, and there's a lot of times I was like, there's no way I could ever give up coaching because this is what it could be like. This is really true basketball. And so her as a mentor, she's phenomenal. I mean, we talk right after this game, and she's very respectful, and she's just an amazing person. She really is.
Best of luck Tuesday at Roanoke.
Thank you.
Washington Elite got back on the winning horse on Saturday when they took Randolph down 67-50. The week ahead, it looks like this for Lynchburg. They travel to Roanoke Tuesday and then hit Emory and Henry on Friday, and the top-ranked Guilford Quakers in the ODAC on Saturday. Washington Elite gets some time to rest after knocking off Randolph today. They'll take on Eastern Mennonite on the road next Saturday. For the Sports Buffet Podcast, Bob Alvis.